Today we're going to be loading up some 308 ammo, and I'm kind of excited about this because it's the first large rifle I've reloaded, and you know, every one of these reloading sessions I've done have been the first of some kind, from setting up the press till now. Kind of excited about this because this is actually something I'll probably be hunting deer with later in the year. What I'm going to do, I've got the brass already prepped up. I've already covered brass prep in the past. It was exactly the same for the 308. If by chance you haven't seen brass prep, or in case the video where I actually did that hasn't come out yet for you all, I might do this in the future. But anyway, right now we've got the brass prepped, and we're going to get to loading. I'm using the Hornady manual for my information, since I'm using Hornady bullets. They've had pretty decent information on stuff in the past. We're going with the 150 grain Interlock soft points, and the reason for that is very simple, and that's because that is what Hornady sent me 500 of when I bought the press. Also, it's one of the first projectiles I actually shot. There it is up close. It is a flat base bullet. One of the first projectiles that I actually shot out of this 308 when I first got it, because their American Hunter line, I believe, comes loaded in this. Before I started this video, I actually loaded up 4 with 41 grains of Varget. That was a very good kind of low velocity number that I knew was going to be plenty safe. And the brass for it looks perfect. I just shot 5 rounds, kind of function test. I tried to throw them over the chronograph, but it was too dark. Brass is perfect, no pressure signs whatsoever, as we would expect there not to be. But I'm going to bump up today to 42 grains, because I know I can. The max charge for Varget is 44.9, so we're still well within limits. We're seating exactly to what Hornady says, which is an overall length of 2.735. 2.736 is what I was getting on that 41 grain load. So I'm going to load up 5 rounds of a 42 grain load, and we'll see how that does. Probably shoot it within the next couple of days here. I did pick up, based on the recommendation of Johnny over at Johnny's Reloading Bench, one of these, a Lee powder measure kit. And it's got this sliding scale for different powders that you can tell about which scoop is going to match up with how much charge weight of powder, which is great. 2.8, that's the one I want. That's going to throw, well, let me just pull it in here. It's kind of a cool little thing here. There, H. Varget, Hodgson Varget. Looks like the 2.8 throwing 38.3 according to this chart. Well, let's see what it actually does. Here's my Varget and a bowl. Pour some in there. The Varget always throws me off because it's got a little bit of a yellow color, but everywhere I've ever seen Varget before, it's got a little bit of a yellow color to it. It bothers me just a little bit. Only because powders, when they are exposed to moisture, can sometimes turn yellow. But alright, firing up the Hornady scale. The one thing I don't like about this little Hornady electronic scale here, so it has been very accurate for me, is that it has an auto shut-off feature, which I wish there was a way to set it to, like, 15 minutes or something, because you're kind of supposed to warm them up, and oh well. What am I looking for here? Oh, I should probably also put some powder in my trickler, because I'm going to trickle up to final charge weight. That's good enough. I'm only loading 5 rounds. Okay, our scale is zeroed. So we've got it zeroed out. Let's see what this, again, this is the 2.8 cc powder scoop. You're supposed to drag it through the powder, tilt it up, and it ends up pretty level. Let's see what we got here. It said 38.3. We've got 39.9. Good enough. We'll trickle up from there. We're going all the way up to 42. I could probably hand trickle in a little more. Okay, there's 41.2. We'll go into 42 grains. And there we are. I always give it a second on those final few actual granules to even out. But sometimes it takes just a second. Oh. And there it's saying 41.9. Let's give it one more granule. There's 42. Okay. Scale is very sensitive, and that's a good thing. Okay. I am going to be paying careful attention that the scale is zeroed out between each. Okay, there's 41. Between each load. 42 even. Came up on that a little quicker than I wanted, but it turned out alright. Oh, got a couple granules in there. It's probably not going to make a difference. Okay, it's zeroed. These scoops make it really easy when you're trickling up individual charges. Seven, 8, 9, 42. Oh, 42.1, let me. Yep, 42.1. Take just a couple of granules out, and I can always trickle 1 or 2 back in. Went over by a tenth again. I want these, since I'm testing them out, I want them to be as precise as I can. Okay, I took out a single granule, and we're at 42 grains. Two more. Alright, on to bullet seating. When I got the 308 dies, I went with a set of RCBS dies, mostly because that's what my local shop that carries reloading equipment has. And I could have gotten Hornady dies for a few dollars cheaper online. But I decided to go ahead and get the RCBS ones from my local reloading shop, and they seem to be working out really well. I set them up before. If you guys want to see die setup, I've done that in other videos, especially if you want to see rifle, go back and look at the 223. I'm not putting a crimp on, just simply seating the die, seating the bullets, I mean. Okay, I've got that set. I'll grab 150 grain. Get it started. Turn it a little bit. Okay, we are right at the top of the cantilever. There's a, you can see how far that's set down in there. And since I'm not crimping, it really doesn't matter where I am on the cantilever. We're going to get a measurement of that. We are at 2.37. Let me read that again. We're at 2.737, and our target is 2.735, so that's going to be close enough. There is a little variation in the me-plot of these bullets, mostly because it is a soft lead tip there. I am double checking for powder each and every time I see the case. Since I only have 5, it's not a very big risk that I would have missed one, but still, I want to be as safe as I can about this. .735. That one's right on the money. 2.735. It's a little nicer dealing with these larger rifle cases than it is with 9mm or 223, simply for the fact that they're easy to get your fingers on. The bullets as well. I'm not fumbling all around with them and dropping them all over like I always am when I try to mess with these 223 bullets. That's 4. And one more. The one thing I do like about the Hornady dies over the RCVS die are the bullet guide. Here's the 223 die, and here's the 308 die. The 308 die, there's no bullet guide, but this has a very, get it in frame here. Has a very nice guide for the case mouth and the bullet to slip up into, and it kind of aligns everything before it even goes up into the seating die. I do like that setup on that Hornady, just a little bit better. But these haven't been bad. I haven't had really any trouble getting them to work just like they should. Okay, I have 5 rounds loaded up here now with a 42 grain charge of Varget. So let's get out to the range and test them out a little bit. We are going to be shooting this load out of my Savage 11 VT. This is the Dick's Sporting Goods Special. It's got a Bushnell 4-12 by 44, I think it is, on top. I'm pretty sure 30mm tube. Anyway, that's not important. This scope came free with the gun. I will eventually be replacing it, but it's doing okay for me for now. Really hoping not to hit my chronograph. Alright, we're just going to single load and see what we can get. All right, we got a chronograph reading. 2583 it looks like. Alright, so we shot that 42 grain load. Now, let's go back over the chronograph results. It's been a couple days, but thankfully, due to this chronograph saving, let's just say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 strings. We're going to go to... Oh, string 5 is what we're looking for. And we're looking for the average here. We got an average of 2576. Let's compare that with our table and what we should be getting. 150 grain Interlock soft point. Okay, with Varget, we were shooting 42 grains, so we're actually getting about the velocity they said. I seem to have forgotten to record the video, either that or I lost the clip, of where I loaded up the ammo for this next test. But what we're going to be doing is shooting again with the Varget with 42.0 grains, 42.5, and 43.0 grains. And we'll see how it does. First, what I'm going to do is I've got 5 rounds of Hornady American Whitetail ammo loaded up. This is loaded with the exact same bullet that we're going to be testing in our hand loads. So I'm going to start out with a sighter group of that. We're going to shoot 5 rounds, see where they group, see what the speed is, see maybe what we should be shooting for. I think I have the chronograph set. Although it is kind of a cloudy day, so I don't know if it's going to pick up exactly like it should, but we're going to give it a try. If there's background noise, pardon that. There's some guys next door doing some work on a gas line. Alright, I've got my scope focused in. Yeah, it looks like it's in pretty decent focus. Magazine only holds 4, so I have to hand load the first one. Alright, we're a couple inches high, but we did get a velocity reading. It's not high enough. We're not going to be able to group it, so I'm just going to go ahead and group it, and we'll make a scope adjustment afterwards. It's not grouping like I remember it grouping. That's for sure. Yeah, it looks like it grouped 4 of them close together and then one right outside. Okay. And of course, being factory loads, there's nothing to see on the brass. Everything ejected just like it should. Starting with the 42 grain load. I have shot this load before, but it didn't get the results that I wanted to with it, so I'm going to try again. Oh, I should probably make a scope correction. I'm going to come down a minute and a half. These are loaded to Hornady manual specs as far as case length. You do see I've got quite a bit of room to get longer. If I do some VLDs in the future, I'll probably need that from the magazine feed. There's 4 rounds in the 5th barrel. I can't even feel any difference on the barrel. Okay, here we go with the 42 grains. And I will be checking the brass on the first shot of every load. Can't seem to get the focus quite right. Probably because this is the cheap 4-12 scope that came with the gun. I will be replacing it at some point. Well, my main camera battery died in the middle of this group, but you can see it's nothing to look at. That's huge. That's 2 inches. That's a 2-inch group. This actually wasn't as bad as it looked. Just had that shot that opened it up to 1.5 inches, I guess. Which I could chalk up to my own error. New camera battery. Gonna make some adjustments. I'm gonna try to get a little more height on my bipod, because I think I'm craning my neck and it's throwing me off. Point of impact's up. Tell you what, I need some sort of a rear support, because my hand is just not doing it. Hold the jokes on that, please. This box is a little big, but it's better than nothing. That'll certainly help. $25.59. Golly. Okay, brass looks just fine. Not the slightest sign of pressure, which I wouldn't expect at under 2,600 feet per second. The chronograph has picked up every shot so far. I am pleasantly surprised. I'm not getting a good cheek weld. Just FYI. I'm sure it's not hard to tell that by the camera. But this stock, even with the lowest possible scope ounce, is not conducive at all to a good cheek weld. I felt like it had more punch. $25.59. I don't know why the velocity's not jumping up. These are half grain load jumps. And not even sort of the accuracy we're looking for. Oh, there's a 26.29. We're finally over 2600. Holy cow. That's throwing them everywhere. And it looks like that one was back under 600 feet per second. Our standard deviation is going to be crazy high. Well, I think it's time to take this one back to the bench and decide where we're going to go from here. Before we get back to the bench, I'm going to show you one group that I shot from the next set of loads. I'm going to spare you all the shooting. This video has already gone on long enough. So let's just go right to this one particular group. Alright, let's look at this target, and you're going to see a mostly messy target with one notable exception, and I'm really excited about this exception. I'm not going to lie. This is probably the best group I've ever shot with the 308. 0.85 inches center to center on that group, and that is exactly what I was looking for. Something tells me I probably could have held this group together a little better. It was wanting to group kind of over here, and then this one shot was outside. So this could have been my fault, this one here. But I don't know. The main reason I think that is because the next group was also pretty decent at just over an inch, 1.05 inches for this group, which for me and for my level of shooting, I'm not going to be upset with that at all. That's pretty decent. What I'm probably going to do, and this is for another video, but I want to confirm the loads I have. And of course, we don't have any chronograph data yet, so I want to confirm the loads we've got. I'm going to insert another quick note here, as I fairly often do on this channel. The 43.4 grain load of Varget gave us an average of 2,600 feet per second. I did go back later and chronograph it. The reason I did that is because I needed a load to load up quick, shoot a few confirmatory shots, get the zero sighted in the rest of the way, and take out to the deer woods, because I recently got a new permission for hunting deer. We will talk about that in a later video as well. What I did notice when I went to sight that in is that one of my scope rings had come loose. So potentially any of these shots on target that were errant, or any of the groups that were opened up, could be very much because of the loose scope ring. It was loose enough that I could flex the scope back and forth on the back ring as the front one was floating up and down. So I tightened that down, and the group went right back to around that 0.8 inch mark. We are certainly not done with Varget. At 2,600 feet per second for that load, we still have a little ways to go. I would like to see somewhere closer to 2,700 or 2,750, but we'll see where we get. That's going to conclude this particular video on finding a deer load with a Varget for the 308. I think we've done it pretty successfully. I was a little worried on the first group that the Varget here just wasn't going to perform for us and that we were going to have to scrap it. But I think we have found some decent loads and some that we'll definitely explore further. On the next video, we're going to be shooting with IMR 4064. I'll talk about that more later, but there is more 308 stuff to come. We're going to be working a little more with this 150 grain soft point from Hornady, mostly because I have 500 of them. So stay tuned and we'll get to that.